know Glenn, right? Glenn Morshower. Glenn has a great, a great career in film and television for 40 years. But when I asked Glenn whether he's a great speaker as well, I'd say, if you could only do one, act or speak, which one would you do? And Glenn's was immediately speak. He's yeah, speak, absolutely. And I thought that was interesting because he's made his whole career out of being an actor. But so today we were sitting there, I invited him to come down early, and we came and hung out at the house, and he's gonna spend the night tonight, and we'll get up tomorrow, and we'll probably grab some breakfast. If any of you want to come join us for breakfast, let us know. But we were talking, and I asked him the same question. So, you're speaking and you're acting. Which one would you rather do? And he said, act. So his passion is really being an entertainer and really acting. And I just want to start with that being the scenario of, why acting? I mean, as a little kid, did you go, I want to be an actor?
I did not. Actually,
Okay.
I was posed that question earlier, and I was about 27 years old. And I came out of a movie. I've always been a fan of movies. And I came out of a movie really pissed because I just spent, I don't know what that, $9 back then, whatever it was. And I wasn't entertained. I wasn't fulfilled at $9. And then I got a little cocky, so the humble got put in the back pocket. And I went, that can't be that hard. Now, looking back on it, I smacked myself because now everybody thinks they can be an actor, right? But my point being is, I was kind of at a point in my life that was in transition, in flux. And this kind of came at the right time. And I've always been a cut up and a smart ass. I wasn't a thespian in school. I was an athlete or a jock. I did a play in 5th grade as Santa Claus, and I did a play in 12th grade as Santa Claus. And they just happened to be like class plays. They weren't in the theater department. And I was just a big dude, and who gets to wear the Santa suit? The big dude. So I was working, when I got out of school, I was going to be a physical therapist. So I went to school for kinesiology, and I was working in a rehab facility at a nursing home, and the girl I was working with, she's an occupational therapist, we went to lunch one day, and we were talking about movies, and I told her, hey, that acting thing can't be that hard. And she goes, you want to be an actor? I'm like, well, I don't know, maybe. So she goes, I do too. Well, actually, I want to direct, but I want to act first. And so I started hanging out with her, and her friends all were artists. And so hanging out with them, getting to know them, what do you do? Well, you start taking classes, and you get a coach who tells you what to do and leads you down that path. And this was in Austin, Texas. You might be able to hear a little bit in my voice. I'm glad that I started in a regional market because Hollywood will break you over its knee every day. And it may have ran me off as a 28-year-old. I don't know. So I acted there for 4 years, became kind of a big fish in a small pond, and I knew this is what I was meant to be. This is what I was meant to do because I put all my shit in a truck and I drove to Los Angeles, California. Never had visited Los Angeles, California. I knew that's where I was supposed to be. So, and I've been there almost 16 years now. And so that's kind of where it started.
We got to stop there because that story of coming to California wasn't just you got in the car and drove to California.
Yeah, just showed up.
You had somebody that promised to help you and be kind of there along the way and help you kind of get situated, right? But how'd that work out?
So the girl that I spoke of that kind of introduced me to acting, we ended up being like brother and sister. And some things happened in my life that put me at the bottom. I mean, at the bottom. And
how many of you guys know what the bottom is?
Yeah, you know what the bottom is, right?
You guys seen the bottom?
More than once, right?
Right.
And this might be the bottomest it's been. And so my wife and I and this girl were having dinner on the Friday night that we're looking at the aftermath. And she goes, why don't you guys move to LA? I'm like, are you that full of shit? Really? She goes, well, what do you got holding back? Now, I had missed 2 years already. I'd circled on the calendar. July 1st, boom, passed. And then all this stuff went down. You want me to go into that? Or?
Sure. Yeah.
So I had been misdiagnosed for about a year with a health issue that put me in the hospital at the end of the year. And when it did, I had no insurance. And it was kind of detrimental to my life. And about 2 weeks, and the doctor was a solid guy. He actually did the surgery kind of taking a chance on me because the hospital wanted the money up front, right? And I knew this doctor did me a favor not knowing I could pay him. So that's going to get paid back eventually somewhere. I don't know, right? But so that 2 weeks later, my wife gets laid off. So that pushed us into $70,000 worth of bankruptcy. And you know, you guys may have similar stories. And cars repossessed, all that good stuff. So again, I'm broke with nothing.
Not just one car repossessed.
No,
right?
all
Both
of them. All of them, yeah, both of them. And then we're sitting at this dinner, and I was telling Bob earlier, I get emotional about this. There's one thing I won't ever forget, is the magistrate sitting across the table from me looking down his glasses as he read my problems of my life out, my mistakes, as if he was better than me. And it was more of an attitude, but it stuck with me that I won't ever go back there, by the way. I might make other mistakes, but I won't make that one. So that stuck with me, and it's still kind of a motivator, if you can tell. So we're sitting at dinner that night after that meeting that afternoon with our friend, and she said, why don't you move to Los Angeles? And Misty, my wife, and I looked at each other and like, yeah. And she goes, no, look, she had just gotten divorced from her husband about 6 months prior, and her grandmother had passed away. So she had some emotional problems that she needed some help and somebody to lean on. And we were like her brother and sister, and she had inherited quite a bit of money. And she goes, look, I need some help when I go out there. You guys obviously need some financial help. So, side note, let me clarify. When you're talking about anything with anybody, you need clarity. And I mean down to the fucking decimal point. So with that said, we agree. We pack all our shit up in a U-Haul, and we go down to her house to pack things up, and she's hesitant. Well, our shit's in our truck. And we're losing days. I got to get out here and do something because I've only got a limited amount of money in my pocket. And I know you said you'd help us, but I'm not going to lean on that. You're going to help me when I need help. So it takes her about 3 days to get things packed up and in a truck. And about the last day before we leave, I'm getting this feeling. Glenn may have said it to you guys, I'm hearing the whisper talk to me. And it says, you may want to call Pops. So I call my dad and say, hey, Dad, what are you doing next week or so? Not much. Can you drive a truck to LA for us? Okay. So he follows us in a smaller truck because we didn't get a big enough truck. And we got the biggest one. I didn't realize she had as much stuff. So anyways, we head on out this way. And she kind of goes ahead of us in our car, our friend. And we stopped first time in Van Horn, Texas. And the second night was Phoenix, Arizona. And we kind of get settled. And she says, hey, guys, can you guys come into my room for a second? So me and my wife and my dad and this friend go in a room. She sits us down and she goes, hey, guys, I just want to tell you, I can't help you anymore. I'm like, what? She says, money, I can't. Now, she says, I can't. I heard, I won't. So for me, that's when the friendship ended. For me, that night, that moment. But we had to move to, so the next thing I heard was keep going. That's all I heard from the whisper. Keep going. I just kept hearing it as I sat there and her mouth moved. I didn't hear anything after, I can't help you. I just heard, keep going. So I came out to Los Angeles, lived with her for a year, my wife and I, in a 2-bedroom apartment with our 2 dogs in the 1 room and my wife. And I'll let you guys know that most of the weight on my resume had happened after we moved to Los Angeles. So if I hadn't kept going, I probably wouldn't be sitting here with you guys today because I chicken shit out and then moved back to Texas and been a plumber or something. I mean, I wouldn't have been that, but I'm just saying that's what a lot of friends, my friends have done, have come out here and this place has run them off. So that's how I got to Los Angeles. So I rolled in scared of what I don't know what I was going to do, but the whisper, God told me to keep going. And, it took him a year to figure out how to help me figure it out, but, we stuck it out.
Now, your wife you guys have been married how long?
So we've been together 28 years. We're high school sweethearts. We went out on one date when I was a junior and she was a sophomore, and she was a bit introverted. And I'm like, she's crazy, man. I'm not going out with her again. And then about a year and a half later, we met up after a football game one night, a bunch of friends and stuff, and we went into the garage of my best friend's house when his dad was asleep, and we played quarters with peppermint schnapps. I know, man, I know. And what's funny is we're driving her home that night, and I will be admit that's the only time in my whole life I've driven drunk, as a stupid young adult. But when we dropped her off, she reached. Now this is Mrs. Introvert. She literally reaches around my neck and pulls me to her and kisses me. So yeah, apparently it's peppermint schnapps that does it. And so from that point on, we've never broken up. We've never been apart. So it'll be 28 years together, October 1st. So.
Wow, that's so cool. Yeah.
So thanks.
Now you mentioned something when we were sitting at the house. You were talking about how any normal woman would have.
Woo! Most y'all would have left me. Left
Why?
me.
Why would they have left you?
Because I'm a little hard to handle. And what I mean by that is I'm driven by a goal. And most women have some goals of their own that might conflict with that. And things like, we don't have children, and that's by design, because chasing what I chase is fucking hard. I mean, every life is hard, but this industry is crazy. And it doesn't make a lot of money if you don't work. And then the things you have to do to make up for that, to be available to work. You can't just work a regular job. How many times your regular job is just gonna let you leave to go shoot something? It's not. So you kind of have to piecemeal shit together. And so does that allow you to buy a house? Does that allow you to have kids? It could, but the way I look at it to a point, and I don't want to put it in a box too much, but I wouldn't want to stop living my dream and be a great dad, or be a dad and resent my kids for leaving my dream. I also wouldn't want to live my dream and be a terrible father. I'm not going to have kids just to have kids. I'm not going to do that. And was that a struggle? Of course it was. Most women was like, well, good for you, buddy. I need a little more security than you're bringing to the table. What my wife sees in me.
Yeah, I got to stop right there, because
Yeah.
how many of you agree that, men and women, how many of you agree that women's primary need is to feel safe and security, right? And so knowing that that's kind of one of the biggest things for a woman, and when a man isn't able to necessarily provide that sometimes, it can wreak havoc on our psychology. But also that the woman would know that you're not in a position to provide total security and safety, and yet she stays anyways. What do you think it is that kept her hanging on, knowing the road ahead of you was not going to get any easier really quick?
She's kind of said it in so many words, other than the love that she has for me. That's the foundation. But the practical would be the potential. She sees my potential, and she's seen the success I've had, and she understands that this business, just like most businesses, you need one shot. You got one shot. If you get that one shot, that next audition could be it. And if I hadn't had the success I've had, I wouldn't have expected, her to. I don't expect her to stay with me the way she stayed with me. But if I hadn't had that and continued to chase it 20 years deep with nothing, then I'm an idiot. Maybe somebody should smack me upside the head. So I believe it was the love, or the potential supported by a foundation of love. I mean, she loves me for me. She don't give a shit what I do, really. But she appreciates that I'm a go-getter, that I'm a hungry dude who lives from my primal being, and that she is safe. She knows she's safe.
How long was it before you got your first real, where you noticed that, okay, I'm getting there? Because you did some stuff in Austin.
I did.
Right. But you said most of your real success has been since you came to California.
Yeah.
So what was the first thing that you went, yeah, I've got it?
So there might have been two tipping points.
Okay.
So the lower level tipping point was the day I shook hands with Kevin Spacey. And then I threw him up against the wall. And he didn't say anything about it because we didn't rehearse that throw. And it was a pretty good one.
Really? What movie?
The Life of David Gale.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't have a lot of success, unfortunately. I don't know why. I think that I don't know why.
You didn't rehearse that? And was it in the script?
No. Alan Parker said, hey, Chris, when he comes through, you need to stop him. And I want you to stop him. And this is the director. And I'm like, okay, Alan. That was it. So they come running down the hall. It's, if you guys have seen it, it's the part where Laura Linney's being taken to the hospital, and he's running by. What's going on? I don't know what's going on. What's going on? And he comes, and they go in the room, and I'm the orderly standing there stopping him. And the first take, when he comes around, he kind of comes up, and I grab him, and I didn't know he was going to do that. And I kind of grabbed his shirt, and bam, he put him into the wall, and then he kept going. Well, that was the day, Bob, that I knew I was a professional. Because the one thing that I didn't do is I didn't break character. That's what a professional does. And it like surprised me. We were done with the cut, and I was like, well, holy shit, Warner, maybe you got something going here. You're acting against a 2-time Oscar Award winner, right, and you held your ground, buddy. And we did 8 more takes. Now, not as aggressive as that. I don't say he learned his lesson, but he probably knew not to come at me like that. But it wasn't fakey fake. Right. I mean, we were wrestling around. So that was a great movie. It was a great movie, right? Yeah. It just, I don't think it got the marketing backing it deserved. Yeah.
So did Kevin ever say anything to you about that?
He didn't. He didn't say one word. Didn't brought it up. Nope, not one word.
You know, I mean, I think one of the other things that I acknowledge, I mean, I love Kevin Spacey, and I think he's just got so much talent, but he's also, he's got the ability to just be real. A lot of things I've seen him in. And the fact that he just took it, and he didn't get all pissed off at you and start complaining to the director, who he's probably got great relationship currency with.
Oh, yeah.
But he could have, but he didn't, and he just kept going. So,
he was a pro too, yeah.
Again, just the 2 professionals. So that probably gained a lot of respect from him, and he probably had a lot of respect for you as well.
Yeah, and he was very professional. You know, I was a day player. It's not like he and I are going to become best friends.
Right.
You know, so we shook hands at the beginning. Ham, Kevin, I'm Chris. Hey, nice to meet you. Cool. Alan introduced us, and that's kind of how it goes with most of the bigger guys, and especially when you're on set one day. He and Laura are good friends, and so there was a lot of talking between them. Obviously, they were on the set a lot together.
And so that was pivot point 1.
Pivot 2, second professional check mark. Not many know this. This is kind of the first time I've told it to an open crowd. So we're on the set of No Country for Old Men, Marfa, Texas, out in the middle of fucking nowhere, right? And so we go out to set. They're shooting an early morning break of dawn set at the farm, and then we're moving out from the farm onto just literally an open road in the middle of Texas. And they've got kind of the sheriffs blocking off the road and stuff. And I drive the truck. They had to jump start it. I drive that beat-ass truck all the way around. We park on the side of the road. Then we go down to kind of a mini base camp. And then we get out of the cars, and Joel goes, hey, Chris, let's take a walk. Now, this is Joel and Ethan Coen, Academy Award winners. And Joel says, let's take a walk. So it's about 150 yards till we get to the truck. They're going to bring the equipment. And Joel Coen goes, hey, Chris, so what do you think about this scene? And I take a beat. There's nothing else said. So that's my cue. Tell him what I think. So I set up my backstory. I told him who I thought the guy was. I thought my backstory for the character, who was the flatbed truck driver, by the way, if you guys watched it, the guy who got stopped and he's pissed because the tarp's flapping, had a big handlebar mustache and stuff like that. But I said, well, Joe, I see this guy is actually his kind of doofusy nephew. He's not stupid. He just does what he wants. And his sister passed away, so he promised that he would watch after this dumbass, as dumb as he is. So he gets him work every once in a while and stuff like that. So that's the story I created. And he goes, okay, cool, man. He goes, I thought this is where we'd go. And he goes, buddy, sounds good. And he passed me on the shoulder. And we set up the scene. And then the way that Joel and Ethan direct is Joel directs the movie. Ethan directs the actors. So when we cut a take, Ethan will come up. If he's got a minor adjustment, he'll tell us, and then we'll back to one. So that's part of the tipping point, but here's the tipping point. So we start, Tommy Lee pulls up, I get out of the truck. Sheriff is my first line. So I get out of the truck and say, Sheriff? And I walk to my mark, and it's me and Tommy Lee Jones. Me and Tommy Lee Jones. Me and Tommy Lee Jones. Damn, that was my line, wasn't it? Tommy Lee Jones breaks character, turns to the camera and says that. Because he's right. It was his line. He dropped it. Now, as a non-Academy Award winning actor, acting opposite him, I could have shit my pants right there and freaked the fuck out. But I didn't. Second pro moment for me, holding it my own with a 30-year Academy Award winning multi-nominee actor, who realized what he was doing. I mean, we held a stare for like 8 seconds. And this is Tommy Lee Jones. And he's very professional, by the way, and focused on set. That could be called something else. I'm just saying he's professional and focused. 2 other folk. I'll give you a little story here. So we're sitting around after lunch, and they're setting up a different camera angle. And he's sitting on the end of a cooler, Tommy Lee Jones, and he's pounding an empty water bottle. And he's just looking ahead, and the camera guy goes, or the sound guy goes, "Hey, Tommy Lee, I finally saw 3 Burials, man." And it was Tommy Lee's directorial debut. He goes, "And that's a good movie." And Tommy Lee, not missing a beat, goes, "Yeah, it was." That was it. Professional and focused, by the way. So that was the next moment that I knew. So back in Texas, hey man, you got something. You should go to the Mecca because that's where you want to be. And you want to be a top achiever, you come to the Olympics, so to speak. Knowing I should stay out here was the no country moment.
Okay.
So
what was that when you knew, one, you'd heard the whisper to keep going. You're here, but what's that moment that says, I'm staying no matter what?
No, that was it.
That was it.
Yeah, because I actually lived here when I got no country. So I had been out here.
Okay.
Shoot, that was 2007. I had been out here 5 or 6 years already. Wow. And it was slow. It was going slow. I mean, it was not it was not producing like I wanted to. And then I hit 2005, 2006 was good time for me because I literally did whatever was necessary. I mean, I stepped outside of my comfort zone a whole bunch that span of time, and some good things happened. And I took a leap that it would have been a hard fall if the net hadn't appeared somewhere, kind of swooped in. And I tell you, as far as another story related to the Tommy Lee Jones story is connections are very important, and you should develop those. What I mean by that is there's 2 casting directors in the state of Texas that know me very well. Bess Sepko is one of them, and Joanna Bolden's the other. So Joanna calls me in from the No Country. Now I'm flying from here to Texas to audition for these guys. Well, the role she's having me read for initially, if you guys saw it again, is the cab driver. Well, when you see the movie, we never see the cab driver's face, and it's one line. I'm like, well, fuck. I mean, excuse my French, but I'm like, okay, Joanna, I love you, and this is the Coen brothers, right? So we're sitting there, and I deliver the line as best one line can be delivered, and there's a pause. There's the longest 3 seconds, almost my life. And Joanna goes, Joel and Ethan are sitting to her left. She goes, is there anything else you want him to read for? Maybe the like, yeah, have him read for the thing and the flatbed truck driver. When I get these, and I go back outside, and they give me 15 minutes, I'm like, holy shit, man, the meat's in the flatbed truck driver. The meat is in the flatbed truck driver. This motherfucker is mine. I did not pay all this money and come all this way and have her take. That was a godsend right there. That was another whisper through somebody else. I got this motherfucker. Excuse me. And so when I walked back in, I did it, and I call them my rainy day moments. I put in my back pocket for those rainy days. As I got done, Joel said, "Hey, Chris, you made that sing. We want you in our movie. We just got to find a spot for you." And it would happen to be the one I just read.
Wow.
And so, if I got a little more time on the back end of that for a rainy day moment, so I shot that. These are some behind the scenes shit nobody ever gets to hear. So I shot that. They picked me. They fly me from here to El Paso. I get in a truck get in an SUV with a Teamster, and we drive 3.5 hours to Marfa. That's by myself. And we're coming back. Boy, she'd be pissed if I told this, but hey, that's the way it goes. We go back with Tess Harper, who plays Tommy Lee Jones's wife in the movie. Woo! Tess was not happy. She was not happy. She was, Tommy Lee was professional and focused with everyone. and she was not happy. And so we heard that for 3.5 hours. So we get back to El Paso. In the meantime, I get another audition back in Austin. So I fly actually back from El Paso to Austin, audition for something else, which was, I think it was Prison Break, for when I was in Prison Break in Dallas. So I flew back to Austin. When I get to LA, I come out and there's a driver for me. There's a driver that picked me up, a driver there. And it said Warner. I said, hey, how's it going? She goes, oh, there's just one of you? I go, yeah, I guess. She goes, oh, okay. So we walk over to a limo, stretch limo, right? I'm like, so this is, if acting's taught me anything, it's taught me to be present. Be present in the moment. I'll remember how many times you nodded your head and agree. I'll remember that. I'll remember your reactions, the big reactions, and I appreciate that. But I'm present with you guys. I want to connect with you. And that's what acting has taught me. So I stop. I stop in my tracks. I'm like, Warner, pay attention. This is on the list. Pay attention. So I get in the car, and from Hollywood, there's a route that the Teamsters take, the drivers take from Hollywood to LAX and back, and I know it. So this guy turns around and he gets on the 105. I'm like, the hell are you doing? And I lived in Hollywood proper at that time. And he gets on the 105 to the 110 to the 101 to Hollywood. That's not the route they take. But I'm like, hey, I'm in a limo, baby. I ain't driving. Go ahead. So I immediately get on the phone with my wife. And I'm telling her, hey, baby, check this out. I'm in a limo by myself, coming home from a shoot. The movie ends up winning 4 Academy Awards. I said, be in the moment. Be in the moment. So I get a little emotional on this one too. So we go up the 101, and it's probably about 6 o'clock at night, the sun's coming down, and I look out the window, and I see the Hollywood sign. And I pull out my proverbial checklist, and I check it off. And I put that in my pocket for days when I'm going for months and weeks on auditions that aren't panning out. And it makes me go, hey, that whisper was right. So, you know, if I could relay anything from those stories is, like you said earlier, keep going and be aware of the whispers, whether they're auditory, kinesthetic, or visual. My Hollywood sign's a visual like a mother, but it was also kinesthetic because I'm sitting in the soft leather seats of a limo, baby. It was nice.
So what is, why anti-bullying? I mean, why has that become, I mean, I know you've played a badass in so many different movies and things, but why anti-bullying?
In this point in my life,
You look like a pretty big guy. I don't think you got bullied a lot as a kid.
I did face a little bullying.
Okay.
I won't lie to you. There was a couple instances, one in 5th grade and one in 7th, and they were both the same thing. And at that time, popping somebody's ear was real popular. And in 5th grade, there's these 2 guys. I'm not going to change their names for safety purposes. It's Jeremy and Chuck. Bing, bing, bing. Oh, fellas, really? When I came back in 7th grade, by the way, in 6th grade, I grew 6 inches in the school year.
They were
From 5'3" to 5'9". So much so by the end of my 6th grade year, literally they were calling me Bigfoot. That's what they gave me. So I had grown so much when I went to, childhood's another story too. So childhood, 5th grade, I lived with my grandmother, my mom's mother. 6th grade, I lived with my parents. And in 7th grade, I went back and lived with my grandmother. So I saw Chuck and Jeremy again, 6 inches bigger, 50 pounds heavier. Oh, hey, Chris, what's up? What's up, boys? And then in 7th grade, in 6th grade, in the growing process, these 2 older guys on the bus would do that to me. So other than that, it was before I hit my growth spurt. So you're right, the size helped. I'm not going to lie to you. But in bullying in general, we're all bullied. I think from the time we're born to the time we're put in the grave. I mean, I worked in a nursing home where people would be put on a bedside commode. It'd take them an hour asking over and over again to be put back in bed. Now, I know CNAs get busy. They were my friends. But within an hour, you couldn't stop and take 2 minutes and put somebody back in bed. That's bullying, in my opinion. So I believe I was put on the planet for 2 purposes, at least at the time of my life. One is to entertain from the screen and the stage as an actor and to inspire folks. I really think folks should do their dream. I don't care what it is. The other is to protect those who can't protect themselves. Really to show those who can't protect themselves how to protect themselves. And I think you can do that by teaching people maximum confidence. If you teach somebody maximum confidence, in my opinion, bullying virtually goes away. So I teach, mainly kids, but adults, anyone who's being bullied in a situation, certain techniques, certain processes that you can do on a daily basis that'll build your confidence that you might not even recognize, but the outer world will start to recognize how you carry yourself. Your shoulders may be back more, your chest out, your voice at a higher octave. your gaze a bit longer because I'm going to take this time because it's mine. The standing your ground, the things I learned in acting, the planting yourself to the earth, and people not being able to move your spirit from that. So I'm a huge fan.
Right there because I want to draw attention to this whole bullying thing. That a lot of times when we hear bullying, we think of a kid on a playground getting bullied by a bigger kid.
Sure.
But there's bullying, like you're talking about. There's bullying happening to us on a regular basis. Maybe somebody taking advantage of us. Maybe somebody, dissing us. Whatever it is, there's a lot of bullying going on in a lot of different ways that maybe we're not recognizing it as. Is that what you're
Oh,
kind
absolutely.
of saying? So you're not just helping kids. You're helping people understand a process in which to deal with any kind of bullying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, the way I look at it is, you could be bullied by a cashier in a store. Now it depends on, bless you. It depends on what kind of mood I'm in. If I'm frosty, somebody gonna get taught a lesson. Sorry. And my wife's with me. She's like, "Oh my God, I'm going to the car." But if I'm at a store patronizing your facility, and I don't care if you're an employee or the owner, hey, I need your attention. Hey, excuse me. What's your name, man? Sorry. Sean. Sean, may I use you for a second? Hey, Sean, how's it going?
Great.
What's going on?
Not much.
Guess what? I just got here. I don't know what the fuck is going on with you today. It wasn't my fault. So, hey, how about we start over? This isn't me and you, right? Things are going to get better, Sean. I'm going to leave some energy with you. You're going to take home with you. And you're going to squash whatever's going on, at least for today. Okay? And if I need to come back tomorrow and give you some more energy, I will. But this transaction, I don't want you putting that in my food, man. I can't take that shit home with me. You're going to make me sick and everything. Let's just stop this. So if we go to Mr. Robbins, he's talking about changing state. I'm going to change their state. And I'm going to do it big. Sorry, I'm not going to do it small. And normally I get a laugh or a joke and it changes their state for the time being. But what I'm not going to let them do is I'm not going to let them bully me. And I'm not going to make that point, but they're taking my time out of my life. That's a commodity we can't replace. I'm not going. I'm sorry?
I mean, then you're bullying them.
Well, that's a whole other story right there. You want me to go into this?
Well, bullying, yeah, sure. I mean, it's intentional.
So here's my perspective on bullying. Here's my perspective on bullying. I didn't touch her.
But I would, if you came at me like that, just because.
Well, then here's what happened. The way I teach bullying and bullying, anti-bullying, is sometimes you have to either mostly match. Sometimes you have to overcome the energy you're facing. See, most bully programs, and I don't want to put my friends down, most bully programs hit it superficial. It's so they can cover some kind of fucking quota. I want to change the individual. And to do that, there's some ninja shit we got to involve. If you want to stop being bullied. If you don't, then keep letting the young lady misuse your time. That would be your fault then. If I teach you the tools on how to break someone's state, meet or overcome their energy to bring them down to a level that they're not bullying you and you don't incorporate them, well, that would be your choice not to incorporate them. Does that make sense? I can guarantee you that every time I go back into the store and face her, we're going to have a great conversation. Does that make sense? So in reference to your question, hey, you just bullied her. No, I met and overcame her energy. You can call that bullying if you like.
Well, and I think it boils down to even what we talk about between manipulation and influence. And it really boils down to intention.
Mm-hmm.
And your intention is to make her have a better day and for her
to respect my
be
time.
in check.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So intention is, that's what's going to make the difference. If she feels like you're bullying her to hurt her, to take advantage of her, to do something, that's going to be intention.
Sure, and that would be on me.
That will be then bullying.
Sure, that would be on me.
Like manipulation would be. So.
But it's so common what you're saying. Anywhere I go now, it's like, am I bothering you?
Right.
Like, I'm sorry, I just wanted to pay for my groceries. I had to leave me at Smart and Final the other day, and I wasn't doing it like you did, but I was gonna do it. I was gonna break her, and I kept saying nice things, and finally she's like, okay, have a nice day. Like I could see like something was going on in her life, but.
Okay, I'm at a gas station the other day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at a gas station the other day.
See what you started?
And no, this is way.
Bob's like,
I'm at a gas station, I'm pumping my gas, and a homeless person comes up and goes, "Do you have any money for food?" Just like that. That's how she says it. And I go, and I'm one of those that when I feel like I should, I do it. I don't question it.
Sure.
But when I don't feel like I should, I don't. And I don't make any apology. I just go, "No." Or, "Yes, I have it, but I'm not going to give it to you." And I'm perfectly okay with saying that. And I look at her and I go, for some reason I felt like I should give it. So I pull out and I had 4 $1 bills and I hand it to her. And she looks at me and she goes, $4? Oh, no, that's not the bad. Here's the bad part. Times must be really getting tough.
whoa.
And I drive, I'm driving, and I know her process.
Yeah.
I'm driving a Mercedes, but it's a 2001 Mercedes. It's 15 fucking years old. But she's looking at the car,
It's a Mercedes, yeah.
and she's going, $4? Times must be getting really tough. And I went, they are so tough that you don't even deserve the $4 anymore.
Did you grab it back?
I was gonna say, did you?
No, she'd already put it in
Oh,
her
yeah.
pocket. And I go, "So just move along." And I just sent her on her way. But I'm thinking, what was she saying?
So
She's calling me out hoping I'm going to give her more, which is
Bully.
bullying.
She bullied by a homeless woman
Right, bullied by a homeless person.
that you actually gave money to.
I didn't give her money. So,
Thank you. That's
so
like-
guys,
Anyways,
we're gonna wrap this up, but I want to, I think you guys hear his heart. He's got a great heart. He's really wanting to help people, and I just really admire the fact that he's taken this challenge of coming out here all these years ago and put one foot in front of the other and just stayed the course. And I love the fact that he's had some great success. And what's next?
what's next? The big thing is I've written some screenplays, about 8 screenplays, and over the last year I've got a team we put together, and we're trying to create a series of a web series so we can create it from concept to distribution. So we can create something our own without asking somebody's permission. A network, a studio. Let's just make some good art instead of thinking about the business first and then the art second. We thought about the art a lot. It's good. So we had two concepts, and every time we met, we kept getting further away from the concept. I'm like, God damn, guys. Excuse me. I was like, I'm trying to wrangle these guys in. So finally, I'm like, we're kind of done. And I was like, look, I got this last screenplay I wrote. I really want to keep it as a feature, but let's break it down. So I took the script out and haven't looked at it in a while. And the first 15 pages, I'm like, boom. In 2 hours, this is where the flow came from. In 2 hours, I had the pilot written of a web series. Done tight. I mean, wow. I was like, holy shit, I wrote this. It's better now. So I sent it out to the guys, and the flow was, dude, you know how we feel about Bisbee. That's the name of the show. So it's done. We're gonna have our first production meet on this concept on Saturday, and we look to shoot it in September. And then,
Nice.
so that's what's
So
going on.
we're gonna open it up for 3 questions. So if anyone has a question, now's the time to do it. We're gonna have 3 questions, and then we'll wrap up so that you guys can get pictures, meet him, talk to him, exchange information. He'll be in the Facebook group, so you guys will be able to connect with him there. So just be respectful of that. Yes, Bill.
So, how do we help you with that dream? What can we do for you?
For the project you're talking about. You know what? I may need some land in Norco, man. I'll need some open land. I need some space, just some open land in the middle of nowhere for the most part, if that makes sense. That will be something that I'll
Okay.
yeah, desert road, that'd be coming.
Charles?
Yeah.
Charles?
For what I'm kind of getting here, bowling is any time when somebody or someone in a whatever more advantage position and trying to push a certain force on the other person. Right? Is that what I'm getting at? Because I can recognize that because of the position whether at work,
Right.
I have a superiority, and that I want to force upon something. Because I recently, I remember on last Sunday, you know, it was my son's birthday and he's supposed to go with me to the training, but you know, he's tired from the day before. And I remember, I mean, pushing him, you know, say, hey, man up and stuff. And, you know, tears coming out his eyes and stuff. And he said, you know, today my birthday and you don't even say happy birthday and stuff, you know. And that's when I stepped back and I realized, oh my God, you know, I'm bullying him. And so I made the shift. I started to come back and I apologized. I go, and I detached from the outcome. I say, look, son, I'm really sorry that, you know, I didn't acknowledge it's your birthday, and I apologize. And, you know, the reason I wanted to go because I know this is really important to you because you say you wanted to live life on your own term and you wanted to be your own boss and do business and stuff. You know? And this is really important for you. I mean, if you're not doing it for yourself, do it for me. And whether you go or not, I'm okay with it. You know, and just let that go. And I was just gentle and let that go. And then I walk off, and then 10 minutes later, he went and took a shower, and then went with me.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Deborah.
So, I admire not just your duration of your relationship, but obviously you and your wife have this ability to understand each other. Do you have particular rituals, or how do you keep that connection of that love and appreciation balance, that you don't feel like one's, because you're obviously a very big presence of a person, and yet I don't hear you saying that she doesn't stand her ground with you, because obviously
Woo!
it's own level.
Oh, goodness gracious.
So fill us in about your relationship, how you keep that glue so tight.
So I think where God helped us out was He put an extrovert with an introvert. What I mean by that is, a little tangent here is, how many actors and actresses stay together?
Very
Almost none. It's because you have two people who are craving the spotlight. Actors are attention whores. I mean, if you didn't know that, I'm just telling you now. And the attention can't go in both places, and especially when one's trying to grow their career. So I lucked out. My wife doesn't want anything to do with in front of the camera. She's a wallflower. She's fairly introverted, not as much as that first date, but she's that side. She's the yin to my yang, so to speak, if you want to put it that way, which I lucked out. We didn't put two yins together. So that was a very solid foundation we were built on right there. Now, as she has come out of her shell, yes, is she ornery? She can be, absolutely. She can stand her ground and be like a Baney rooster. She's redheaded and she can be pretty aggressive, which I appreciate because she holds me. If I've got a bigger critic on the planet than myself, it's her. And it's good. You're talking about bullying. She holds me to my standards. Those are the standards I set. And so she holds me to them. The other thing is a question that people ask me that you ask me all the time. If I can put it into one word, it is compromise. Are there times when, man, I know I'm right? And then there's the whisper, hey, Chris, let it go. Okay, you know what, I'm sorry. And I say I'm sorry, a lot probably. And then the last thing, this just came around probably the last 3 months. Every day we have coffee time. So when she gets home from work, we go and have coffee. And we do this in public. We take an earbud each, she puts in their ear, and usually we try to alternate, but normally I pick a song that resonates with us, and then we literally look into each other's eyes for the whole song. And most of the time, we're both in tears by the end of the song. That's so we can connect on a daily basis. And we do that every day for 3 minutes. And that's to make sure that we're still there with each other. Because if we take advantage of the 28 years, there won't be another 28. And I came from, my parents were married to each other 3 times without any other marriages in between. They can't even tell me why. And her mom was married like 5 times. And we vowed when we started that shit wasn't gonna happen with us. It stopped with us. And we've kind of held to that, so.
That's awesome. Let's give him a hand.